I learned a couple things from Dan early on. People involved in military organizations can read between the lines. If it's not authentic and it's not credible, then the military community will not be part of it. So if you really want to know about Dan, you're looking at a genuinely authentic and credible member of our military service now in society that's just a good stand-up human being all the way around. I'm Roger Quarles, the Executive Director of the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Foundation. And my first introduction to Dan was as a man that had a very, very unfortunate accident in Afghanistan. He came in, he had dark glasses on, he had to have somebody drive him down to the office. He wasn't able to drive a vehicle. He really could barely stand up on his own. That was my very first meeting of Dan.
They're like super humbling because there's nothing like this in the world. Like there's no chambers this size and operational in the country. And to think that, I was kind of like the de facto guinea pig.
Basically, we can make your body function more efficiently. Everything heals faster.
Dan made tremendous progress. Physically, emotionally, he started feeling better. And when it came down to make a decision of who were we going to hire as the next director of Mission 43, Dan was the obvious choice.
Because we're such a small team, like our whole team kind of has to do everything. So some days you're more like a rock guy, some days it's more like wheelchair basketball player, and other days you're sitting in the classroom.
And he has just crushed it since then. Everything
here is built universally. So like there's no, handicap side versus able-bodied side. Everything is able to be used by everybody.
The lived experience for Dan translates nicely into the work that we're trying to do to support other Idaho veterans that maybe need help with employment or education or engagement. He's committed to our state. He understands the mission. Mission 43 has a primary goal of making Idaho the most desirable state for life after your military service. Dan is all in on that. As Dan began to heal and feel better and move forward productively in his family life and his professional life, we got to see some of the real kind of unique pieces of Dan that most people don't see. When the United States decided to pull out of Afghanistan permanently, Dan had built relationships with soldiers in the Afghan community that were supporters of our efforts in the global war on terror. And when we left that group behind, Dan could not live with himself knowing that all of these people that helped him, helped our troops be successful, were going to be left there and probably eventually killed by the Taliban. Dan was successful in getting over 350 Afghan members and their families that had supported America's efforts in Afghanistan out of the country on the last flight to safety. Dan led that work around the clock for about a month-long period until we got final confirmation that the group was safe and out. That's the kind of human being that Dan is.